Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. Blenderhead, Blender HD, if you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Friday, April 28th, Fighting Friday. We're fighting tomorrow at least, maybe. Maybe we're not fighting, but the fighters are fighting. The fighters are fighting in the Ultimate Fighting Championship in the Vegas. It's a Vegas slate, right? It's a horrible slate. It's a horrible card tomorrow. It's one of those cards where they put together, we're just gonna throw a whole bunch of newcomers and whatever, and half the fights get scrapped and replacement fighters. It's a mess. It's a mess tomorrow. It's only 11 fights. Let's see if it stays at 11, right? Because we still got weigh-ins today. Maybe it actually ends up being 10. You never know. But we'll be talking about that this morning. Give me those thummy thumbs. Give me the thummy thumbs. It's free content here. Why not? The least you could do is hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. The least you could do in your life, right? Smash it. What do they say? They say smash it, knock it, bang it, hit it, whatever. Do whatever you want. Okay, don't hit it. Don't see if I care. See if I don't really care. Really, RotoGrinders cares, right? Doesn't really matter that much to me. But if you want to continue wanting this free content, then you better keep on doing it. So good morning. The early birds, Mike Ostry, 9:46 a.m. What are you doing here that early? Who's waiting around over an hour for me? That's stupid. Why would you do that to yourself? Wataz, Suki Singh, of course, the normal people. Defik, Joe Mack, Kickstart, Bart B. Right? You know who you are, right? We're here talking about the UFC Vegas 73, something like that. Something like that. 11 fight card, 4:30 p.m. Eastern lock. So at least we're getting out of there early, right? Right. See the pay-per-view ones. I don't mind being late, but I mean these fight night ones. I like when by 9:30, 10 o'clock you're done. You're out of there, and that's what will be tomorrow. And it's from a contextual variable standpoint, it's quite challenging. This is going to be a quite challenging slate, especially if you're playing large field GPP. But even if you're playing small field stuff, be a lot of condensed chalk, and probably rightfully so. The fighters that are chalky there's only 22 fighters to choose from. I mean, really, it's an 11 fight card. Because you know what we do when we preview these cards. I don't go over the fights, right? I'm not looking at who's going to win. I don't know. I just look at the probabilities. We're just looking at how do we beat other people in a GPP, right? By playing lineups that are less duplicated, that have a high enough win probability, right? We're not just jamming in like the 6 biggest underdogs or anything like that. What does the nut lineup more or less likely to look like? And what types of constructions are over-owned versus under-owned, right? That's essentially the game you're playing in GPP. So contextual variables on this slate, we talk about the two main ones in MMA. Okay, every Friday that we do this show. If you want the actual fight breakdowns, go subscribe to RotoGrinders Premium, right? Right? That we don't give that away for free, right? You gotta get yourself an MMA Premium, get yourself a combo Premium, get the MLB, get the NBA playoffs, get everything. PGA, right? Get soccer projections, right? Soccer's tomorrow. You could play that. Right? Click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. You'll get the projections. You get the ownership. You get the expert survey for MMA. You get the fight breakdowns by Liam, the written breakdowns, the ground and pound podcast with Liam and Mike. You get all of that. So listen to that. Me, I'm just looking at numbers. I'm just looking at numbers here. Contextual variables on the slate. What are the two main ones that we always look at in MMA? The size of the slate and the spread of the fights. Those are the two main ones to determine what the nut lineup is more likely or less likely to look like. Okay? Size of the slate, 11 fights. Okay? Small. This would be considered a small slate. Not many choices, right? Not many choices, which means that win probability, win equity goes up. Right? On a large card, 15 fight card is 30 fighters. And, there may be plenty that score 100 plus. Right? Getting the 6 highest scoring ones, there's more to choose from. 11 fight card, not many to choose from. Now, you get 70 out of a 7K fighter. That could be optimal. That could be optimal. Right? You get, hey, Kyle Barrio comes out and puts up 105 points, even at 9,500. That could be optimal. It could be. There's only 11 fights. Okay? So that's the first contextual variable, the size of the slate, and then the spread of the fights. We go to my odds sheet right here, which is not done yet. We have 2 fights that are 3-1 favorites, and they're 9,500 and 9,400. Then we have like a 2-1 favorite, 2.5-1 Rodolfo Vieira. Then everything else is kind of pick 'em, right? Even like Garosa and Charles Johnson, like the minus 180s here, like kind of spreads of the fights are quite close. Other than maybe Bahayo and Egger, I guess Vieira, but I mean, we don't have no minus 500 favorites. We don't have minus 800 favorites. We don't have any of that. So the closer the fights are, the spreads of the fights, the less and less likely that the optimal lineup will spend $50K in salary. Okay, so this is the type of slate where win equity is more important, is of higher importance, not more important than finishing equity. Right? I'd rather have someone that finishes a fight, right? We get some 100+ point scores. Yeah, I love that. But with the less opportunity, prioritizing guys that win go up. And then because the spreads of the fights aren't that dramatic, the salary difference doesn't matter as much. Right? We could have 4, 5, 6 underdogs win on this slate. And the fact that just getting a win is more prioritized. It's quite possible that the optimal lineup, the nut lineup, leaves. It's not a $50K lineup, right? It's more and more likely that it's going to leave more and more salary on the table, right? We get if these big favorites, Barrio and Egger, Egger puts up 80 points, Barrio puts up 80 points or whatever. It's like quite possible that these mid-range guys, DeLima, Quinlan, Simone, the heavyweight fight in the mid-range, like if they start putting up 90, 95 points, like next thing you know, the optimal lineups 48-8 or something, 49-2. And especially when there's only 11 fights, you're going to get a lot more duplication, especially in large field GPP. Get a lot these. It's going to be very difficult to find 50K lineups, 49-9 lineups that are unique, let alone duped under 5. Some on a larger card, on a 14-fight card, you can find some 50K lineups that are unique, or at least under 5 dupes. This an 11-fight card going to be kind of difficult. Going to be pretty difficult, especially with how much condensed ownership there is. And even the fighters that aren't that owned, like there aren't that many places to go. There really aren't there places to go. So if you want your questions in the YouTube chat, feel free to put them in. If you have any questions for the show in general, remember, on normal days, I just go over your questions. We talk about DFS strategy, game theory. Email questions@theoryofdfs.com. You get any questions about Lineup HQ, the tools here at RotoGrinders, the Excel tools that I offer in Theory of DFS, right? You can pick that up, my two audio courses, theoryofdfs.com. Just post them in there. But I'll just go over like what some of the more popular constructions are going to look like. And basically we're going over that these are the lineups not to play, right? These are the lineups that look the best, that have the highest like win probability, the highest, median probability, but they'll be duped like 700 times or something. Maybe not 700, but a lot, right? People are talking about rainmakers in the chat. Who cares? I don't care about rainmakers. Okay, so I could just show you what if you go through, it's like the owned fighters on the slate are going to be like Bahayo up top, right? Vieira, right? We just take a look. Just take a look inside the distance lines, right? Bahayo is a minus 130, Vieira minus 130, Quinlan minus 120, Rogerio de Lima plus 120. Right, the main event is an $8,400, $7,800 fight, right? The $7,800 fighter is plus 175 inside the distance. Ricky Simone, averages 6+ takedowns per 15 minutes. So, like, the main event is going to be popular. Then we have guys like Padilla, an underdog, but I mean, not much of an underdog to Julian Erosa. Erosa's plus 175. Padilla's plus 180, right? And then we have the added little nugget for this slate. We have Journey Newson priced as an underdog, $7,300 underdog. He was supposed to face Brian Kelleher, and Kelleher pulled out, or the UFC pulled him out, according to his Twitter or whatever. So now that Marcus McGee is coming in on 3 days' notice, and he's priced at $7,200. So basically, we have a fight that's a $7,300 fighter versus a $7,200 fighter, and it's plus 185 inside the distance for Newson and plus 250 for McGee. So the likelihood of one of these two fighters being in the optimal lineup is very high, right? Now, there are instances when neither of them make it, right? The 3-round decision, low scoring, Newson gets 65 points, which that's what he scored the last time he had a 3-round decision. It's not like Journey Newson does much, right? It's quite possible that this fight ends with the 65-point decision win, and Padilla has a knockout, and Cortez Atosca or Waters and Song have knockouts. Maybe Michael Olajaychek gets a knockout over Caio Barrio. I mean, Cody Brundage. I mean, there are plenty of underdogs that could outscore Journey Newson in a decision win. But Journey Newson's going to be probably the most popular fighter on the slate because he's technically mispriced. He should be, based on the current odds, he should be like 8,700, right? McGee should be 7,200, and Newson should be, I mean, now at this point with minus 190, he should be 9,000. So essentially, you're getting a $1,700 discount on Journey Newson. If he was 9,000, you probably wouldn't even play him, right? It's like Journey Newson, what does he do? He averages less than 1 takedown per 15. He averages, 2.5 strikes, significant strikes per minute. It's not like he does that much. And Marcus McGee isn't like just a no one, right? I mean, this is a low-level card to begin with. I mean, most of these guys are no ones. So there's a way. I mean, I think McGee is going to get owned also, but I mean, not as owned as Newson. But you have to be really, really careful on the constructions you make with Journey Newson. You have a 50% on. I mean, this is what it's going to look like. I start putting in Journey Newson, right? Barrio, Vieira, Newson, right? I put in like DeLima or Quinlan in here, right? I put in like Song Yadong, right? Trey Waters or something like that. I mean, look at the ownership. You're gonna play 5 fighters that are 40+% owned, and go, yes, I'm yes, that's unique. Yeah, get out of here. It's 49-9 lineup that has 5 fighters that are projected to be 40+% owned. Like, you're not gonna be able to do that. I mean, you can. It's just that you're gonna win $800 for coming in first, when it should be $50K to first or whatever, right? Are you going to see a lot of lineups that look like this? If it's Ricky Simone, who I think is going to be way more than 31% owned. He's going to be over 40%, right? You have 7,850 left, and maybe get Fernando Padilla down here, and then you have like the lineup that I made was like Jamie Linhorth right here. Like, look at this. Like, oh, look, 50K lineup. Right, this would be like this technically is the top, based on our projections, the top non-stacked, the top median non-stacked lineup. Barrio, Vieira, Simone, Horth, Padilla, Newson. But look at the lowest owned player is 31%, and Ricky Simone's going to be higher than 31. So like Horth is the lowest owned fighter in this lineup, and it's just 32% projected owned. Like, this lineup is going to be duped. This lineup could literally be duped more than 100 times. So you're going to do that? It's a 50K lineup. It feels nice. That lineup is like, oh, it has everyone that I want. Okay, great. I think it's more likely the next step down is to build a lineup, but instead of Newson, have McGee in it. So that would be the next step down from not being duplicative. I mean, even though those lineups are going to be kind of duplicative, right? If we do something like this, Padilla, McGee, Horth, like that same lineup before, but I mean, it's still, you look how it's still, you have 14% Marcus McGee in there, but still, look at you have 5 fighters that are over 30+% owned and 3 that are over 40% owned. Still way too many dupes. But that's one step down to get direct leverage off of a very chalky Journey Newson that's mispriced, and you play Marcus McGee. That's one step. The second step would be to avoid the high range. So you get rid of Barrio and you get rid of Vieira, and you kind of go down the middle. So you take out Padilla down here. You still, maybe you take McGee, right? So you have Simone, Horth. Right now you're going more towards like DeLima, Quinlan, Arosa, like something like this. Even you take out McGee and you put in Newson. That would be the next level. But look at the ownership here for that. 42, 48, 31, 27, 48, 32. You still get into trouble, right? You take out the Newson and you put in the McGee. It's a 49-8 lineup, and still look how owned this is. Look how owned this is. Right? Even if you change out like Horth to someone else, right? If you change out Horth to Jake Collier, I mean, you're still in zones where you're duping 10, 15, 20 times. I mean, like this lineup alone, 49-7, this probably gets duped 20 times. I mean, you're just running into dupes all, and this doesn't have Vieira, it doesn't have Baralio. So maybe you play Stephanie Egger instead, but she's going to be 35% owned. So like really, the key to really be, if you want to really be different, is to play. You're going to have to play. You're going to have to play people like. You're going to have to play Charles Johnson. I think it was going to be less than 29% owned because his upside is limited. Charles Johnson is like a one-dimensional striker, right? His upside is quite limited for 8,700. It's hard for him to get a +2 buddies. He +270 inside the distance, right? Not very good. But that's why he's going to be lower owned. Play Haley Cowan at 7,900. She doesn't have much upside for 7,900. What else? What else can you do? You could play Trey Waters. I mean, he'll be owned, but he'll be a little bit like Waters and Cortez Acosta. They're direct leverage off of DeLima and Quinlan. But their upside is limited also. I mean, Waldo's Costa, they're knockout dependent, essentially. Right? I mean, Waters, neither of these guys wrestle. Waters is more of like a distance guy. I mean, basically, he could beat Quinlan, but I don't know how large in a 3-round decision, Waters and Cortez Acosta score like 60 points, maybe. That may be good. Hey, that may be good enough on the slate. That's why it's an 11-fight card. If this is a 15-fight card, and I don't know about that. Once you start getting to like Waters and Cortez Acosta, or you take a shot on Michael Olajchuk against Baralio. I mean, he could knock out Baralio. Just that Baralio, the way that he fights, he's very evasive, right? And then once Baralio takes you down, you're probably not getting up. Not saying you're going to get finished by Baralio, but you probably ain't getting up, right? He's good at control on the ground, and he'd probably have 3 rounds of control over Olajchuk. Maybe not even score 100, right, Baralio? But if it's on the feet, Olajchuk has a shot. Or Arena Alexieva against Egger. I don't know how much of a shot she has at a ceiling, but you never know. Brundage against Vieira. I mean, if Vieira can't get Brundage down, I mean, Brundage, I guess he could win, right? You're going to have to play combination. I mean, it's not just one of these people. You're going to have to play 2. You're going to have to play combinations of this. You're going to have to look at lineups where it's like I'm playing Cohen and Olajchuk, right, as a big underdog, or play Brundage, right? If you want like the ultimate leverage lineup, right? What would the ultimate leverage lineup be? Olajchuk against Chalky Baralio, Brundage against Vieira, Chalky Vieira, McGee against Chalky Newson, right? You don't play the main event, right? You don't play the main event. And then you play Waters, Cortez Acosta, right? So now you're playing 5 underdogs, and then you play Charles Johnson up here, and then you leave 5,000 on the table. Like this is a little bit. I think this is a little too far, but it's not that far. It's not that far off. It's. I mean, like this is a little too far, right? Leaving 5K on the table and playing 5 underdogs like this. But like, let's say you just changed McGee with Newsom, like now you've really upped your ownership. But you're gonna have to do stuff similar to this. So let's say you don't play Olajaychuk, right? You just say, okay, Baralio, so you still have 11-7, right? Even then, like let's say you just play Baralio in this lineup. You're leaving 20 you're leaving 2,200 on the table. Baralio, Brundage, McGee, Waters, Cortez Acosta, Johnson. Maybe you take out Cortez Acosta and whatever. You put in Rogerio de Lima. This isn't all that bad, right? You're leaving 1,200 on the table. You have McGee in this lineup, right? So you have 240+% owned fighters. But then you have a combination of like Brundage, McGee, Waters, Johnson that, hey, in the combination, combinatorially, whatever that word is, there's less combinations of this, and you're still leaving 1,200 on the table. You're gonna have. I mean, these are the lineups that you're gonna have to make. This is why the volume on tomorrow's slate. I'm not playing that big of a volume. I think I'm playing 40 large field lineups tomorrow, and maybe 3 small field ones. But you have to make these types of line. I mean, like, I almost feel like you probably if you want to use a lineup builder, is to make groups of who you would want in all of your lineups. Like a group where like you're setting a group where it's like at least one of like Cohen, right? Charles Johnson, Olajaychuk, right? Brundage, McGee, right? Who else is down there? Alexiva, right? You're doing something like this. Do we have any? Who else? Who else is going to be lower owned? Right? Badai, Collier, maybe not. I don't do. Right? You're looking at all this and you go, McGee, Brundage, Alexiva. Yeah, you just sort of something like this where it's like you have at least one, if not more, like 1 to 3, 1 to 4, whatever. Like it'd be more likely to make sure to have something like this rather than try to like who not to have together. It's like that's more than half the fighters. Well, what combinations of 4 fighters should I not have together? It's like it's going to be harder to make those groups because there's going to be a lot of them. Defix says Yadong, Newsom, Baralio, Padilla, Max 2. We can have to do that. You're going to have to put a Simone on that also. Right? Simone is going to be higher on than 31%. I'm telling you this. Like, don't go by these. Don't go by this number. Simone is going to be higher on than Song Yadong. I think Simone is going to be 45% owned, and Yadong is going to be 31. It's going to be the other. Simone just has so much wrestling upside in 5 rounds. Like, dude, a 5-round decision win for Simone, he puts up like 140 points. Like there's no way he comes in less owned than Song Yadong, whose path to 100 is a knockout. That's why I change these. That's why I adjust. Cortez Acosta isn't going to be 8% owned. He's going to be like 15% owned. Just still on this card, that's lower owned. Anything under 20, right, is low owned on this slate because there's only 22 options to choose from. As of now, I'm expecting Haley Cohen to that fight to get canceled. She's dropped out of like what? They tried to schedule her like twice, and she's dropped out of both. So who knows? Who knows what happens? Who knows? Jay Collier doesn't feel good today. I mean, maybe a 10-fight card. That's why I'm playing lower volume. Like dude, it may be a 10-fight card. There'll be a 10-fight card, and then what the recent trend in UFC, it's like, the slate will lock, and then there'll be some other fight that's canceled for no reason. No reason they couldn't tell us beforehand. But there's a lot of untrustworthy fighters we have cardio concerns. We have, people with not many fights under their belt. We have guys, this is a high variance card as it is. Nothing's a lock on this slate. But if you want the fight breakdowns, go subscribe to RotoGrinders, combo, premium, get everything. Just get everything all at once. Instead of going sport by sport, it makes sense. Click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. The expert survey will be posted later today. The Ground and Pound podcast, I'm assuming they recorded yesterday, so that'll be posted. That'll be posted today, right? Smash that like button. Yeah, you see it on the screen. Hit the like button. This is all my breakdown. I mean, it's 11 fights. How long could this show be? Here's the combinations. This show, when we preview it on Fridays, is typically, these are the combinations that you probably shouldn't play. They look good. Yes, this is the most likely outcomes, but it's not the most profitable outcomes, right? Too many people are going to be doing this. So don't do those. It's like, well, what should I do? Anything other than those, right? Just don't do that, right? Very similar to MLB DFS. We talk about all the time with strategy. It's like, here are what the bad lineups look like. So what should I play? Just not those lineups. Anything else other than those lineups, you're probably fine. You're probably fine, right? And if you have any questions about DFS strategy, game theory, anything at all, right? That's what I cover on the show on a day-to-day basis, right? Your questions. You have questions, I have answers, right? If you want a structured way of doing that, go to theoryofdfs.com. Go grab my audio courses and Excel tools. You can go through it at your leisure. But we do unstructured learning here where you ask questions and I have answers. So submit them via email, questions@theoryofdfs.com. And we'll be talking about that Monday, right? We'll be back, right? Fridays are always Fighting Friday. Mondays are Mondays with McCool. Tuesday through Thursday is your questions. And sometimes we get a Grinders live in there because MLB has an early slate. So hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Thummy thumbs, give me the thummy thumbs. That's the thummy thumb song. Not a very good one, but it's there. It's there. Have a good weekend, right? Good luck in your contest if you're not in mine, right? If you're in my contest, I don't want you to have luck. I want me to have luck, right? Hey, if I have a lineup that is duped less than 5 times, I hope you're one of the people that had like that. I'll give you that, right? So if I win like 3 ways up top and you get 2 people out there that watch the show that are part of the other 2, okay. If I had to choose, right? If I had to choose, I'd rather just be unique. I'd rather you just pass out and didn't enter. So I'd be the only one with that lineup, but that's not the case. I hope it's one of you. And then I'll see you next week. Answering your DFS strategy questions like I usually do here. Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.